So, what are we talking about today then?
Well, it was meant to be Unhinged, and then I didn't fucking watch it like a twat.
Well, me and you have seen Sisu, which
Absolute bellend. I wasted an hour and a half of my life on that film.
I am going to
we
watch it
actually
now,
meant to
though.
watch
So
it.
then we'll next week I'll want to talk about it. Welcome to this week's open channel.
Right.
It's me, Matt, and there's Florey, and there's James. We're going to talk about stuff that we watched. We were meant to all watch the same thing. We didn't watch the same thing. We watched different stuff, but there is some crossover, so it's going to be a laugh. Now you do your intro and see how good it is.
Well,
You're being too slow for me.
I can't see or hear either of you.
It's not my problem that you're on the arse end of the planet. It's not mine. It's not my problem that you're in the middle of nowhere, Mad Max.
Well, he's done it now, hasn't he? Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Vice Press Open Channel. We get together to talk about things we've done, things we've made, things we've seen. I'm Florey, your hostess with the mostess. That's James Henshaw from Vice Press. That's Matthew Ferguson, also technically from Vice Press.
Yo.
And this week, as Matt just so eloquently put in his very own intro that he did just before me, we're just going to talk about things that 2 out of the 3 of us have watched and the other one hasn't. So we got a little bit confuzzled. James was a very good business boy. And
James
he watched
did
the
it right.
movies
James is the one that did it right, and I only did it half right.
Yeah, so he's actually watched the things that we said that we were talking about this week, whereas I thought we were joking because I didn't really want to watch Unhinged with Russell Crowe. And yeah, neither did Matt's wife, it turns out, right?
No way. She was like, nah. So we watched a different shit film instead.
Which was fucking brilliant.
So I watched both My Cousin Vinny and Unhinged when I could have been watching absolutely anything else.
Yes, but also My Cousin Vinny is very good.
Well, you know what? One out of 2 isn't bad. We'll talk. My Cousin Vinny. I'm surprised I didn't see this when. I'm surprised it's taken me till now to watch this. It is very, very, very good. 2, I looked at when that film was made, and it could have easily been made 15 years earlier than that. It was. I thought it was like an early 80s film. It's not. It's like 1992. It's to put it in its context. Like anyone that's seen the pictures of like Joe Pesci in it with his hair and looking quite. It's 2 years after Home Alone that it's made.
Hair and makeup.
What?
Mean, yeah. De-aging. I would give it this. The de-aging is better in My Cousin Vinny than it is in The Irishman.
Did this like give it a sellotape?
Sellotape and the worst wig you've ever seen in your life. I don't know. So how much do we want to talk about My Cousin Vinny? Or given that, do we wait until Florey watches it?
I know it's a 1990s. I think we talk about all these films, but we just do base level because that to me is kind of interesting to hear what you thought about it.
When we've actually seen it, and then you might actually see it, and then you can say. So this is an ever evolving podcast now, where we watch a film that the other one hasn't watched. I've watched My Cousin Vinny. Unhinged I didn't watch. No, I didn't watch that. So I'm halfway there, dickhead. But then I might watch Unhinged for next week, you see.
We're actually going to watch it.
And I'll want to talk about that when you're talking about something else that we're going to talk about watching this week.
Yeah. What we should do is whoever gets the most upset gets whatever they watched by the other two the week after.
Oh, for not watching something. Yeah. So James is definitely most upset, so we've got to watch Unhinged.
Okay, we'll do that then.
Because
Rusty
it's
Crowe.
horseshit.
Yeah.
He's upset he's watching it.
Maybe it's not.
So Unhinged, right? Unhinged. So I'm going to come at it explaining Unhinged to 2 people that haven't seen it. Now, to put a bit of context behind it, we got into it last week because of a marketing scheme, which is Russell Crowe just yelling at the audience to go and see Unhinged, right? It's one of these kind of John Wick-esque man on a mission kind of murder everybody, but if that guy was a lunatic and he was murdering innocent people for no reason,
so not getting baddies.
Basically, no. So it's Russell Crowe, spoilers, murdering everyone
It's a
because
road
of a
rage
little bit
film,
of
right?
road rage. Yeah, not even massive road rage. There's a red light. She pulls up behind him, goes green. She honks him. He kills everyone. That's it. Pretty much. Now, what I will say about this film is Russell Crowe is in a different film to absolutely everybody else in that film.
Excellent.
He is brilliant in it. I mean, it's Russell Crowe, isn't he? Right?
Yeah.
He's
Well,
brilliant.
that's
in
really
it.
become his thing, right? Because as we said, the Pope's Exorcist again, he's all over it. He's doing amazing accent work. Even Thor, he's doing some incredible stuff. This
It's-
it sounds like it's the same thing. He just goes in and just tears it up.
He does. He does. And I think I messaged you both about 10, 15 minutes in saying this is wank.
Yeah.
But I sat and watched it and I was kind of entertained by it.
Well, that's not
So
bad then.
it's kind of like a weird run-of-the-mill, just, one of these nothing straight-to-videos that would have been Jean-Claude Van Damme or would have been Eric Roberts or someone like that,
Ooh.
but with Russell Crowe in it.
I'm in. I'm going to watch it this week. You've sold it to me, James. You've sold it. So on Saturday instead we watched Big Game because for some reason Netflix added it to my watch list, and I've never added it to the watch list. I've never seen it before, but I was like, oh. And then I looked, and it was the same director as that Christmas movie, Rare Exports, which is that really good Finnish movie about they find wild Santas in Finland, and then they train them to be real Santas. It's really it's.
I have no idea what
anyway,
you're talking about.
You would
Have
love
you not seen Rare Exports?
Rare Exports. Is
Exports
fucking.
is
It's Finland, and wild Santas are like wild animals, and they like capture one. It's just like a monster, but then it's like it's amazing. Anyway, so it's the same director as that, and Big Game is Samuel L. Jackson is the president of the United States of America, and someone brings down Air Force One because they want to do the big game, which is like the big game hunters, and the biggest game is the president of the United States of America. But they don't bank on a 13-year-old Finnish boy out in the wilderness learning how to be a man, and it's like a buddy film with those two. It's fucking brilliant. It's really good.
I'm watching both.
Ray Stevenson's in it as a secret agent guy. It's really, really cool. Samuel L. Jackson's like, I've had enough of these motherfuckers and stuff. It's so good. And then that led us to watch Sisu, which is his next movie, which is the old man. Old Fantastic. Man kills a bunch of Nazis, and it's unbelievably good.
So I didn't realise Sisu was by the guy that did know. So I've got Sisu downloaded on my Skybox. I've had it downloaded for 6 months, and it's one of those that I'm like, am I in a mood for this? Because the trailer looks incredible.
Oh, it's better than the trailer. Even. Go on, you talk about Sisu now, Florey.
Well,
you watched it, right?
I didn't do this on purpose, but I think we've had an inception, and either you, because Matt said I think he said he watched it, but I didn't remember he said he watched it. So then just today, it just popped up on my thing, and I was like, "Oh, I've been meaning to watch that for ages. Let's just throw that on there." And that's a loud thing that I can watch, and that movie is fucking rules. So good. It's the return of the silent revenge like protagonist who's just like
not a
fucking
single
bad
line.
at not a single line. I don't want to say too much about it. It just fucking rips. It's not 90 minutes, 90-minute movies. This is what we need more of.
Unhinged is 90 minutes as well.
Well, this is the way.
There we go. Talk to the hand.
This
with
is
90
our
minutes.
new section.
That's the new thing. 90-minute movies. Boom.
And I've never met one that I haven't been into. And
look, this is a trailer moment, so it's not spoiling it. But he throws a mine at a Nazi's head, and the Nazi explodes. It's just because it's a Nazi, you're just like yes, and it escalates from there. Basically, I mean, it is unbelievable some of the stuff that he does in the underwater bit. That's like where his jaws basically is fucking nuts.
And I think the thing is too, like sometimes you see that stuff and you're like, oh, this film's gonna be. Oh, it's going to be like, it's a crazy trailer. And you're like, it's going to be a bit over the top. This is going to be cool. And a lot of the times that doesn't pan out. They've had enough ideas for the trailer and then it ends up being either a bit too silly or like the tone doesn't hold or they run out of steam or ideas really quickly. This doesn't do that. They had 90 minutes worth of ideas and it absolutely nails every single bit of it. It's like oddly beautiful. film. Like there's all these
It's really well
wide
shot, yeah.
shots in it, and it's interesting that because I thought this was just some dude's first film. I didn't even know this guy. I don't know how I've missed it with the sounds of those other two films. Like sound right up my alley, but yeah, no,
Oh, you
this
love them.
thing's
They're both
awesome.
great. You like his other two as well. They're really good movies. And it's the same guys in each three. So
Oh, really?
the Sisu guy he's not the main character,
Sick.
but he's the father in Big Game. And then he's in Rare Exports as well. And the little kid, you know the tank driver
Yeah.
in Sisu? That's
Yeah.
the little kid from Big Game. And he's also the little kid in Rare Exports. So it's like the same. And they're
Yeah,
real life
cool.
father and son as well. So that tank
right.
driver
What?
kid is Sisu's real life son.
Really?
Get out of town.
Oh, totally.
Unbelievable. This is
It's
all
really, really
fantastic.
fucking good movie. It's like just the tone is just right because sometimes when films are that violent, because it is really violent, it can be like a bit distasteful, but somehow it's just like yes, and you're just like pumping the air every time he gets one. It's just great.
It's got to have, it's like that distasteful thing. It's got to have heart, hasn't it? And it
Yeah.
can't be just doing stuff for the sake of it and kind of all of that.
Well, it's Nazis, isn't it? I mean, they're really not.
It's
nice.
very
They've got it coming, right?
Wolfenstein, like that whole thing where it's just like, no, you're just gonna shoot for 90 minutes, or use whatever else you've got, but you're gonna love it because, yeah, I don't know, it just strikes a perfect balance of everything. I
It
think.
escalates to ridiculous levels as well by the end. It's really like
Yeah.
fucking-
Yeah, but the less
This
said,
guy
I think, the
is
better.
he's just a machine.
What are they? His whole thing, he's got this is the thing that got me. I was like, this is pretty cool. And then I think like 20 minutes in or something, they realize who this old guy is, and they're basically like, oh, he's like he was a soldier and all this sort of stuff. They call him the Immortal, and you're like, whoa, this fucking. And then you just
like when the girls explain what it is about him, and they sort of say,
yeah.
it's not that he's the toughest, it's not that he's the best at fighting, it's that he just won't die.
He just won't
And that's
stop.
the film. He just didn't stop.
Anyway,
It's
that's
amazing. It's really good.
probably enough of that. But everyone should watch all three of this guy's films by the sound of it. I'm going to watch the other two. Probably watch them for next week instead of watching whatever we say we should watch. And Unhinged, obviously, I'll be watching. My second film that I watched that nobody else watched was Fatal Attraction. Immediately after we recorded the podcast last week, it just
Why'd you
came
watch
up
that
and
for?
reasons. It came up in conversation and thought we'd put it on, and then it was like, because it's one of those ones where you're like, yeah, I know that movie, and you go, a bit like My Cousin Vinny, you're like, yeah, I know like the beats or whatever, and you're like, have I actually consumed this with my own eyes as a full product? And I don't know if I ever had, because the bunny stuff, that Glenn Close is a fucking nutcase, that it's Mike Douglas, before he ate too much pussy and got throat cancer and all that sort of stuff. And we know this story, don't we?
That's me.
We know
told him
this.
that Is this
I thought it's 'cause he
suitable for
smoked.
children,
No.
on YouTube today?
This was what he said. He was.
It was HPV,
They were like,
wasn't it?
yeah, well, that's what. It turns out that he wasn't wrong, but like what he said is not exactly how it works. So he just said he got his throat cancer, and he was like, "Yeah, it's my own fault. I ate too much pussy in the 80s or whatever." But it turns out that it can, if you do get the human papilloma virus down your throat, that can cause issues. But who knew?
Yeah.
Who knew?
Yeah, that's it. Careful what you're munching on.
Michael Douglas knew apparently.
Yep.
But
Right.
what a movie though! Like
Funny Boy, though, is where that term came from, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. But like, what a film! It's super of its time. It's mental health obviously didn't exist back then, so but ignore that part and it's one of those roller coaster films. It's very much like directed in a way and paced in a way that almost manipulates the audience. Like it gets you. That things are gonna happen at a steady pace, and it just sort of slowly ramps them up so that the space in between each like horrific event gets smaller and smaller until everything comes to a head. I mean, by the end of it, I was like shouting at the TV. I'm like, whoa, shit! It's all happening. Great film. Everyone should watch it. Might get on like Basic Instinct next or something.
Oh, the whole thriller cycle of the 90s.
Well, they don't make them anymore. Like, it's not a sexy erotic thriller. Is not really a thing.
Yeah. erotic thrillers for teenage boys.
It's
Yeah,
for mums.
right.
Everyone knows that.
So I don't think I've ever seen Fatal Attraction. You know, like you saying,
should watch it.
You know,
I've
you know
definitely
the
seen
beats
the
and
film.
stuff,
No, I've seen it.
and from all of that. So yeah, no, I'll give that a go. I'll give it a watch.
You put that on
watch.
with Nat. She's sitting there with her jaw dropped, like by the end of it, 100%.
Yeah, it might be one that I can convince her to watch. We'll see. God, it is so hot in here. Honestly,
It's very warm in this country.
Well, you're in your little
muggy.
box, aren't you, Jane?
It's muggy.
yeah, I'm a little glass box.
So who's seen those pictures of Superman then?
Yeah,
I mean, you
Oh,
in his pajamas.
can't go on the internet without seeing Superman.
David
today,
Corrin
so.
Sweat.
I like it. I like his face. Superman looks good. Face, cape's good. Color blue's good. The only thing I would want to change, but it's not really a problem, is the collar, because my brain's like, how does he fit that underneath his suit? But I guess he's not going to have it underneath his suit, so we're probably not going to have the shirt pull thing, which is silly anyway. Because if you think about it, how does the cape fit underneath his shirt? You know, in the original,
100%. He's fast enough that he can zip on to the
just go
toilet and throw it on, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think it looks good as a suit. You've kind of I think with these things, you've got to remove yourself from. We know what Superman should look like. They've fucking nailed it with Christopher Reeve. That's a classic look. They perfected that already. What else do you do? Take little bits and bobs from. There's sort of 3 or 4 comic book suits in there.
Yeah, the collar is in some comics, isn't it?
It's the newer stuff, I think, and the same with the suit. And then there's got the shorts from the very original one instead of the briefs, and it's got the sort of even almost like the very triangular. What do they call that one? Anyway, it's one of the early sort of Superman logos.
The S is kind of like is it the Kingdom Come style?
Yeah.
S.
It's like an amalgam of loads of different elements.
Yeah, it's cool.
Now
it's very much like Superman.
Yeah. Now, when I saw the pictures, I don't want to be like all fanboy and pile on. I was a little bit underwhelmed, especially with Mr. Terrific and stuff in the background and whatever.
It's a pap shot, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I was going to say,
100 foot away.
However, you've got to look at the very you said this yesterday, Matt. The very Guardians of the Galaxy-esque those costumes. So I'm just going to wait until we see the final thing.
I think in movement as well, when it's moving, and they'll do a bit of CG to smooth out some of the creases. Because like somebody said that to me on Twitter, like, oh, it's got too many wrinkles. But it's better that he can move around, because otherwise he's going to be doing Michael Keaton style. If that was like skin tight, he wouldn't be able to move, would he? Because it's obviously quite thick material.
It's interesting what they've gone for, because it's not the rubber kind of thing that they've been doing for a while with texture on it. It seems almost like it's a blanket. Like it's sort of, it's like got weight, but it's like soft. It's interesting.
It's similar to the Deadpool look as well, isn't it?
Yeah. That new suit in the movie,
new Wolverine,
yeah. It looks interesting. I think I like the kind of panel lines that are like, because the Snyder one, what's his face wears, has like heaps of panel lines and detail, and like it's just too much. I think this is striking an interesting
like
balance.
Noise, doesn't it?
Yeah. This has just enough, I think, and like you say, when they CG it, because there's horrible shots of every suit that's ever existed, pretty much, like in every superhero film. They all look like shit at the start, and we'll just see it. I don't need to see a single thing for this movie until it comes out. To be honest, I'm so over all this shit with just. Even even the Deadpool Wolverine stuff looked like, some of it just looked like complete arse until we saw that trailer, and it's like, oh no, that looks really good.
Yeah. So when it's finished and it's actually in camera, stuff always shoots differently, doesn't it?
Yeah, and they'll do things in post and whatever. So, like I say, that's why
it might. I'd be very surprised if it's that vibrant in the film itself, because when they do a color grade, it'll get more filmic. But I like how vibrant it is. It's just. I wouldn't be
surprised if he keeps
it, I reckon.
I think he'll keep this film quite sunny. Like that's what I would do.
Oh yeah. To a certain extent, I think it should look different to a lot of the other ones. Hopefully.
Yeah. No, I think I'm looking forward to it. I think it's good. I don't think, James Gunn, he's not really set a foot wrong. apart from maybe some questionable tweets. He's kind of, when it comes to his films, they've all been very good. Like
Yeah.
Super, all of the older ones.
Great stuff.
What's the Nathan Fillion one? Slither.
Slither,
That was
a
really
movie,
good.
yeah.
I haven't
That
watched
was
that in a
tops at
while.
the time, yeah.
Yeah, so somebody else said, I don't know who it was on Twitter, I read it, but said it's interesting that the Batman suit was like an update of the Adam West Batman suit, because it is similar, isn't it? Like the way that the cowl is.
Oh yeah.
Oh, with the circle
And
cut
then
across the forehead.
this is really an update of the Christopher Reeve suit. It's very much that.
Mm.
But to like
It
a
definitely
general
leans
audience,
closer to
that's
that,
what,
yeah.
what it is. It's kind of interesting, telling you from the right off what it's going to be, I think.
Do you think they're edging their bets a little bit? That maybe the Reeves thing will kind of blend into. I know they've said that that's more of an Elseworld story that's separate.
I would like it if the Batman stuff was kept separate, but
Yeah.
also I wouldn't mind if they brought it in, because they can just do that.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, I
I
mean,
think there must be
it depends what I really think it's going to depend on the world that this Superman is in. Like, we haven't, once we see Metropolis and we see how that feels and all these other, the thing I worry more about is the 10,000 other characters are in it, but I'm sure it'll be fine.
Yeah.
Because that Batman has a very distinct world that it has built, but I guess it's small enough in scope that we don't really know anything about what is outside that. But they were talking about, there was a little bit of talk about the filming of Batman 2, and it's like, Jesus, get on with it. Just start. What are you doing?
Oh, it's weird, isn't it? They just need to make that already. But also, I think there's something to be said for sequels. Oh, he's got some kind of toy. Ooh.
Oh, live unboxing.
There's something to be said for sequels, right? That aren't straight after. So 2 or 3 years after, I think, is the sweet spot. Because look at the Star Wars; they were 2 to 3 years after each of the original ones, and also sort of like a lot of the Star Trek movies and stuff.
That's absolutely normal. That's the window.
Like Lord of the Rings. Well, Lord of the Rings, they were filmed at the same time, so they had it. So if you did the 3 at once and then you, well, like look at Avatar, it's what, 10 years after? Was it more than 10 years after? More than 10 years, what I'm saying.
Well,
like the
13
longest
or
time after, and it was excellent, and it's the biggest movie ever. Way of Water was really good. So
what was the one that just popped into my head?
I'm not bothered about it taking a while, because people are like, they'll have forgotten. It's Batman. No one's going to forget Batman.
Yeah, true. And it almost opens up, like, you do have the problem with this stuff, I guess. It can be, because he's a very early Batman, no one wants to see that again. We've seen that. So, I mean, if it is 3-4 years after, we've progressed, we'll buy it more. That stuff's happened in that time. Yeah, it should be good.
Yeah,
Just
give me the goddamn movie. That's all I'll say.
I'd like to see more of the Bruce Wayne element in it. I think there wasn't really much Bruce Wayne in the last one.
Well, he was fully obsessed with being Batman, and he was consumed him. And I think we're going to see him put on the persona of Bruce Wayne a bit more as it goes forward, which is an interesting flip of a lot of Batman stories, isn't it? Where like the Batman Begins is Bruce Wayne first, and then he's Batman, obviously. Yeah. But I like the idea of him slowly realizing that he can be nice.
Yeah.
And not just get more and more dark and horrible, because Batman is nice. That's the thing everyone always seems to forget. He ain't a massive. I mean, he's a psycho, but he's not a jerk. He's a nice guy. He adopts a kid. He's a nice guy.
We saw a little bit of that. Like, he realized to get into Penguin's place the second or third time he goes there, that he could just, if he was just Bruce, he could walk straight in without having to fight 50 fucking guys at the front door.
Tweedledum and Tweedledee. I love that little thing. That
they were great.
A lot of people
every time their noses are more fucked up.
Well, those two clowns,
wasn't it?
Yeah.
There was, because they've just cast. I can't remember the actor's name, but they've just cast the guy that was in the. Oh Jesus! This is a really bad anecdote because I've forgotten half of it.
Perfect.
You know the guy that was in. You know there was that vampire thing on Netflix that was by the haunted house dude.
Yes.
Oof.
The priest, Mike Flanagan.
Yeah.
Oh
that's it.
yeah,
So Mike
Midnight
Flanagan,
Mass.
That's the one. So the guy that played the priest in that's been cast as the voice of Batman in that new Bruce Timm Caped Crusader.
Oh,
hasn't
okay,
he?
cool.
And the reason
He's
is
good.
they said they auditioned loads of actors to take over from Kevin Conroy, because I think they're going to have to go over a lot of Kevin Conroy's work or something. And there were loads that were good at being Batman, but he was the only one that was good at being Bruce Wayne.
Yeah,
Mm.
Kevin Conroy's Bruce Wayne voice is something people forget. It's like
Yeah.
same with Superman though. Like in the original '78, it's like, oh yeah, Christopher Reeve was Superman, but also he was Clark Kent as well. Half of that movie is him being a fucking loser, and it's brilliant. You know?
Yeah, it's fantastic. I mean, I think that's the thing with the Conroy Batman, and why people don't even know why they like it so much. But I think it really is that thing. All he did was what it sounds like to me was he spoke with a smile on his face, or he spoke with a frown on his face,
Yeah.
and that was the only difference. And you could hear that in the voice. It was amazing. But
Should we do a live toy unboxing? Can I open the
Oh, he's
toys?
excited about his toys.
Yeah,
Can I
go
open
on.
the
You
toys?
open yours, and then I'll
It's
show
just-
everyone mine.
Let's do this.
I've got this. While he's getting that out of there, I can show that. Look. Dun, 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 dun.
Oh,
Yeah, so I resisted getting these for ages because they were quite pricey. But
You said that they were maybe £1 or £2 less, and that was all the difference for you.
That's all it takes.
it's the Ghostbusters Fright Features ones.
Oh,
Are you keeping them in the box or ripping them open?
Nah, I'm gonna open these.
That's the spirit.
Wow.
But I do need to buy because they re-released obviously the original ones, and for some reason, so I took them out of the box as one should, but for some reason I chucked the backing cards away.
Oh,
Well,
so
I
you
mean-
bought them again?
No. I need to. I versify them again.
James,
Because
I
the thing is-
understand.
I don't. I don't understand. I don't care about boxes.
It's all this stuff. Like I'm not bothered about them being out of the box.
Yeah.
It's just still having it, and it's
Yeah.
just because
There's
they're
a-
so cool.
There's a certain. This is the thing. Sometimes I think it can be about, and it's most likely probably nostalgia and stuff, but sometimes it's more about the overall package of the thing than it is about the thing. Like it's how the box works with the toy and how it all comes together. Yeah, that's sick.
Yeah.
They're so sick.
I'll tell you one of those toy boxes that is it's always a trigger memory for me because I didn't get it. It was like was it the helicopter, the Turtles helicopter? The
Oh, the
box
blimp?
for that was
The-
no, it wasn't a blimp. It was like a helicopter. I swear,
Oh.
it's just a
Oh.
memory I've got in my brain. I don't think I've ever seen the thing again since.
Remember the
We were
Ghostbusters
away
one?
like somewhere like York or something, and I wanted it. I'm gonna have a look now. see
Yeah.
if
What's
it-
hilarious
maybe
about
I've
all
made
that-
it up.
all that turtle stuff, like all those toys, and even all the promo stuff for the show itself, and then the show, none of it is from, I don't know what they were doing, but if they were developing it all at the same time, they must have been, because the show is different than the promotion for the show is different than the toy packaging. All of the models are
Really?
different. I've been going over them for certain reasons. Who could say what that might be? But just going over it and trying to find, like trying to stay on model
This.
when it's all different is crazy.
I have
You see
never
it?
seen that.
I have
That's
never
cool.
seen it either. That's wild.
So it's the
Whose
it's
helicopter is it?
the Turtlecopter.
Oh.
It's really
it-
cool, and I
that
remember I
a
just wanted it so much.
Final season back end episode or something that they just.
The box, yeah, that's definitely it.
Yeah, it's cool. All those ones are cool. I mean, the turtle wagon, like I feel like tracking one down in box just to have the box.
£169 box.
Fucking
Mm.
Jesus. Oh, see, that gives me a heart infarction. This guy's like, oh yeah, bargain. No one will know.
This is where, if I was a millionaire or at least had a decent whack of money, that'd be a nightmare. Just with all of those.
Yes, that's why you'll never
turtle
be a
stuff.
millionaire.
You should
Because
see all this
we're all
unopened
fucking
shit
morons.
I've got laying around. I just bought this because it was
Oh,
hanging
scrap
around,
heap,
but
is
I
it?
don't fucking open it.
Well, seeing as we're on
Need to
toy
s-
time, and I've just
This
is
is
coming
it.
out
You've
on
just
the
announced all this is a
1st
good
of July.
segue into it, isn't it? Nice
Yeah.
one, James.
So I wore myself out because I've just announced my toy online as of recording it like 3 hours ago, and that all popped off, and then I wore myself out and fell asleep on the couch while we were watching TV afterwards because it was like such a rush, you know. So yeah, that's happened. As the day that this is probably coming out, the pre-order is going live, so that would be good. If you could go to GAMEBOT.MrFlorey.com, you'll be able to see my little guy. His name is GameBot, and I have his prototype right here. So some of this stuff is not right, but I thought let's put it on camera. We'll have a little chit chat about it, and I don't know. You guys know everything, but maybe you can feign some questions for me.
Let's
Whatever I haven't
fucking see it
explained.
then. Let's fucking see it.
He's like this little man here, and his name in the lights he looks a bit odd. So
He
he's
looks
just
a little bit like a game console.
we can't. He's a
Portable game
nondescript gaming handheld gaming machine. So the idea is that his little cart here comes
That
out.
makes a nice sound, you know.
Yeah, it does. So what we're going to do, this is your starter kit, right? So you're going to have this guy with his little happy cartridge. Click. This is not exactly what it'll look like. This is the prototype, so it's all a bit wonky. So just ignore that and go on the internet and look at those pictures. So he's going to do that. And what we're going to do in the future, if this pops off, we're going to have a whole bunch of different ones of these guys that I will sell you separately for a nominal fee, and you'll be able to change his little expression. And it's going to be very fun for everyone.
Do the feet and the arms do anything?
Yes. So all of this, he's going to come to you in bits and pieces because Matt likes magnets. And when I was developing the ideas, he's like, all that should come off and it should have magnets. So it's going to come off and it's going to have magnets. So Matt's his little body there, big hole in the back for our big cartridge. And then he's going to have his little hands. They'll have a peg like that. They'll also be magnets. He'll have his little arse/leggy bags.
Which is like his stand as well.
Yeah, little stand. It's also kind of, that'll clip in like that.
Well, that's cool.
These bad boys will magnet onto the side. These do not have magnets, so it's a little bit tricky to do it backwards into a camera. And then you'll be able to plonk that bad boy in there. That's it.
When are you going to do an electric one?
As soon as everyone buys all these ones that I have paid to make.
The cartridge is small enough for you to like do a fucking LCD screen.
We're going to do... My idea would be like a nightlight version where there's a little switch or something in there, and that's clear plastic or something in it. But that's down the road. Everyone buy this first, because if you don't buy this, we ain't doing shit. So if you look online, there's we're doing this starter pack first. Pre-orders on that are July 1st, which is hopefully today, all going to plan. Okay. You can go buy that. And if that all going well, I'm going to have a sort of maybe blind box sort of edition of like half a dozen carts so that we'll be able to carry on the fun. And
I really think everybody should buy this that listens, because not only is it a really cool thing, I'm going to buy one or two, but also you would be directly supporting this guy. We don't do a Patreon. We don't do any sort of big sandwich priced monthly subscription. So this is kind of like, well, exactly. This is kind of like, paying for him to live, because it's like a lot of effort and time that he's put into it. He's been designing it since last
They're very sick of listening to me talk about this, because it's on and on and on, and the stress of it all, and the backwards and forwards. But I think it's pretty cool. We've got somewhere.
Even if you don't like it because you've got no taste, which is probably a lot of people that listen to this, because lots of people don't have any fucking taste. Just buy it anyway because you like him, and you do as you're told. And also, you could then give it to somebody as a gift. Oh, even better, if you really like it, you can buy two. One for you and one for a friend.
Yeah. Or you can keep buying the box.
Yes, there will be no limits per customer.
So you buy one to give to somebody, buy one to give to somebody, buy one to keep in the box, and buy one for yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's only what my mum does with the unicorns and stuff. She's like, I'll have 10. I want 10, please, Matthew.
You made mum
I
pay
mean,
pay
from
for
my
hers.
perspective, you've been working on this for so long, and it's been really interesting to kind of watch it grow because me and Matt
Oof,
both
we've
said from
learned a
the
lot of
start that it
stuff.
was yeah. So yeah, we said from the get go that it was a really cool idea, and it's so good to see it come to fruition. But I would just say, more than anything, in this world that we're in, we deal with a lot of licensed stuff. We deal with a lot of things that are quite complicated. We all want to put something out that's got our own name on it. Matt's got the unicorns, I've got the frames, Florey's got his GameBot, and it's really kind of important because it
Yeah, you've
supports
got the
us.
frames, and yet you didn't call them James's Frames's, did you? You called it the
James.
Poster Frame Company.
Biggest
It's
balls
no-
up
It was
of
there,
his
right in
life.
front of you. James's fucking Frames's.
James's frames.
Yeah, James's fucking Frames's.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah.
What can I say?
I mean, I remember when you came up with it, you
Yeah.
didn't come up with the cart going in straight off, did you? You were doing something else.
No, yeah, it was always
There was something else before, but then when you did that, I was just like, I've never seen that before.
it was gonna be I think it was gonna be like two separate guys that like sat together, like one didn't go into the other one, there was like a cartridge man and a robot man, and then it had the screen was gonna be like clear colored plastic. So I'm like, anything you put in there will turn that color, and you're like, just make it colorful, you fucking clown. Like, and that's that was that. This is why you need your mates around, because I think as much as you're like it's your thing or whatever, like both of you guys have been the only sounding board that I've had. No one else will listen to me talk about it. So I've like bounced it all off you guys, and I think I'm to a point where it is like there's a level of confidence, but also I'm fucking terrified. So yeah, if everyone could at least like. If you don't want to buy it, I know we've given it a hard sell. Just share it. Like that costs you nothing. Just fucking click on the thing, click the heart, and share. You have no idea how much of a difference it makes.
If everybody listening to this shares,
that's all I ask.
Yeah. How much are they going to be, Florey? How much are they on sale?
Yeah, so they're £40, and you get everything I just showed you there. That's about 50 US.
That's fucking cheap, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's good.
Especially for how much effort and work goes into them, because there isn't a lot of margin in these things. So it's kind of keeping it affordable, keeping it so that everyone can get it. And also the other thing that Florey's not seen, but you'll have seen it shown because we don't have prototypes of it yet, but you'll have seen on the screen, is the packaging design. Going back to what we were saying about all the Ghostbusters crap and all the toys, the packaging, you put as much effort into the packaging design as you have the other one, and it's so cool because it's kind of got that really nostalgic element. And I think
it's definitely completely original, and it doesn't riff on anything, just as the product itself does not riff on off anything else. If you like old Japanese packaging for certain products in that space from that era, then you'll definitely get a kick out of it, I think.
Yeah. So it's a winner.
Exciting times. Anyway, that's enough of that.
When's that? So that's up July 1st.
July 1st, which is a Monday. No, I'm just gonna go like midnight my time, and then it'll be up for everyone when they get up that day, basically.
Yeah. But me and Matt have seen some of the designs for the additional carts and stuff. If this is successful,
I think they're on the video. Aren't they?
The first 6 that I've chosen are up there. I've designed heaps of them, so it's like this is just the first sort of batch that I like the look of. And yeah, you'll be able to see. So I want you to see ahead. I want you to see where it could go, even though you can only buy this right now. And this is not, buy this now and then maybe in 3 years I make that. Like, you buy enough of these and they're going. Like, I'm just going to tell the guys to make them. So that's sort of later this year, all going well kind of thing. So yeah, if we can get through a few of these, then we'll do that. Then it'll be fun.
This is directly supporting creators. This is directly supporting...
My wife is going to be shipping these out. So the more successful it is, the more pissed off she's going to be.
She already hates my guts, so that'll really cement the relationship, No.
Just got to figure out where we're going to put them.
Yeah, that's another thing too, isn't it?
I'll just
sad.
Put them in the roof. Hey, I've been in the roof. I'd live in that roof. They can live in there. I'd be happy up there.
It's so sweaty.
What about 140 degrees up there?
It's just we're not equipped for it over here. We're not equipped.
We don't have AC.
No.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think if we skip back 1 year on this podcast, there's probably a whole episode dedicated to how much you don't have AC.
Oh, and every
It's
year
just
I
every
say,
year the
right,
same thing
what
keeps
I'm going to
happening.
do, I'm going to buy an air conditioning unit in the winter so that it's cheap and I've got it for the summer. And then it gets to winter and I think, nah, I'm not spending money on that. Don't need that. And then it gets to this time of year and I'm like, you're a fucking idiot.
Well, you need one for your little
Right.
box there, because what's the insulation like? That's for people that
Ultra.
don't know that James. Why would they know? He's in a, what do you call those things? It's like one of those little hideaway things you build in your backyard. That's like a
Shed.
prefab, right? It's a shed.
Shed.
Yeah, but they do, it's like it's a
No,
shed, but then they class it up a bit, right? With the
yeah.
it's
So
got
this is
glass and doors.
it's like it's a garden room, but it's not. It's kind of not as fancy as a garden room. It's a glorified shed that's insulated and obviously electric. Do we get any questions, Matt, for your?
I think we
from your
got
tweet?
one.
We got
Okay,
one.
that's enough for us.
Chris Weston.
Oh yeah.
Oh, good old
Chris is on Infinite Earths says, name some films that would have been improved if they'd been musicals, and
Oof.
who should have done the songs.
Well, as we know, Lin-Manuel Miranda or what's old mate, the Australian that did Matilda? What's his name?
Tim Minchin.
Tim Minchin. So they're the only two options you're allowed to have these days, for good reason. Films that would be improved. I don't know, but I'll watch a musical over anything these days.
Yeah.
Especially like I missed the Minchin did a Groundhog Day musical that started here the other month.
Oh,
I
really?
missed it. I'm really annoyed because apparently it was really good. So there you go. There's one. They'll no doubt make that on Netflix
Into a
at some
movie,
point.
yeah.
Yeah.
See, I'm a
Blade
big-
Runner.
I like musicals. I like musicals a lot, but Tick Tick Boom was incredible. Grease, all of those. But I'm trying to think.
What about
I can't think of
Sisu?
any off the top of my head.
Yeah, Sisu would be great as a musical.
Would he
Songs
still not
by
talk though?
Anthrax.
Yeah.
Yeah, he still wouldn't talk. It just all the Nazis would be singing, and he would
Oh,
still be silent.
perfect. A bit of a for the
There's
producers
There's the other
situation.
one, isn't there, as well? There's the making a movie better by making it Muppets. So, like John Wick, Keanu Reeves
Yeah.
is the only human, and everybody else is a Muppet.
That'd be fun.
You know?
That'd be worth a watch.
And hey, they do a
don't know, I'm
musical
struggling with that
every now and then,
question.
don't they? The old Muppets.
Oh, all the Muppet movies are musicals, aren't they? Actually, yeah, you're right.
I'm going to spin it on its head. Like musicals that I'm kind of hope that eventually that do become films at some point. Book of Mormon.
Yeah.
So Book of
I'm
Mormon.
shocked they haven't done it.
Yeah, well, they said so. Something I think that Matt Stone and Trey Parker said when it first came out, that they wouldn't do it as a film. They wouldn't do a film for, I don't know whether they said 10 years or 20 years, or until they visited every single territory in the world.
It's like a big,
Yeah,
popular musical, isn't it?
we're going again in September, so I've seen it before, and we're going again. It's one of the best things I've ever seen.
Now that I say
Honestly,
that,
it's-
I don't think there's a lot in that I don't know what you're putting in the trailer, to be honest. There's not much you can really, like it's like it's definitely their humor, less juvenile, but not. It definitely got a lot of the bite to it, doesn't it? Like the shit that they're singing about. It's great.
Oh my
Have you seen it, Matt?
I don't
Good
go
stuff.
to musicals.
Oh,
It's
surprise!
brilliant.
Shocking.
Yeah. So yeah, I'd like to see that made into a film, but I don't think that's going to happen very, very soon. But as for the other one, I don't know.
The thing is, too,
It's-
what's with this whole like we hide musicals that are musicals now? I know that they don't make the money they want them to, but it's fucking stupid. Like, come on.
Folks like, I think people have been more pissed off that they've been duped. Like
That's
this
what I mean.
Mean Girls thing. Like Mean Girls, I was like, oh, they've remade Mean Girls. Oh, okay, weird. And then someone was like, yeah, I went to see it was a musical. I didn't expect it. I'm like, why didn't they just promote
It's
it
because
as
they
a
want
musical?
that weekend. I think it's the whole first weekend. They want as many people to go because that's the life of a film nowadays. But musicals have never operated like that. They've got a long life. So it should be the same in the cinema. It's like The Greatest Showman that came out and nobody was bothered, but then it slowly just kept on going, and it's probably still in cinemas now. It's like, look at the Rocky Horror Picture Show. They still show that in cinemas. Because they take on a life of their own, and so it shouldn't be that initial, they should just let it go and go and go and go and go and go.
Problem isn't isolated to films. I think it exists in the poster world. I think it exists in the toy world. I think it exists in like clothing, cinema. if stuff doesn't perform day one, week one, it's dead, it's done. They're not
First
bothered,
10
they
minutes,
move on.
people are like, huh, flop.
But the reality is, like, I'm not knocking anybody else's business model. I'm not doing that at all. But like the attitude we have is that, like, we put film posters up, if they sell however, and then they sell, but then over time they continue to sell. It's the same with films. Like The Greatest Showman, really good example, didn't do very well that first week. It went on to do what, $500 million over the course of whatever, and became one of the highest grossing musicals of all time because they left it. It found its audience. Back when I was a kid, and I don't know about you guys, I used to avoid going to the cinema in the first week because it was too busy, and I'm like,
Yes.
I'm gonna wait a week or two just so it's a little bit quieter, just so I can sit and chill and there's no screaming kids or whatever. And I think, and obviously you've got streaming that's added into that.
They just ditch them straight off. It's like, look at Furiosa. That's already streaming. It's done. It's not been out like a month.
Crazy.
No, again, I know we quote them quite a lot, but the Weekly Planet guys talked about this, and I agree with them. And I think what studios are going to have to do is to really take a hit and kind of think, you know what, we're putting it in cinema, it's not going to be on streaming for a year. It's not going to be on streaming for a year.
Well, I saw a tweet about the Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Here we go. It's our weekly apes content.
Monkeys.
It was like, finally, it's coming to digital July
Finally.
something. It's like, it was out 2 months ago. What do you mean, finally?
Yeah, it's wild.
That's like
I think
a really long theatrical window now, 2 months. Are you joking? It used to be
mad, isn't
years.
But they must
What
have
was-
some numbers somewhere because there was that whole thing with when Warners were during the pandemic with throwing stuff straight at streaming or like waiting 2 weeks and then throwing stuff on. Well, I mean, they're still kind of doing it, but like wasn't there some specific like places were coming out saying, no, we are not doing this. We're going to keep it the same. They must have lost because there's got to be a reason that they just throw it straight to streaming if it doesn't perform day one. There has to be.
So what have we covered this week? We've covered.
I don't know. I wasn't listening.
Films 90 minutes or less.
Oh, that's the new podcast. That's what we're doing. 90 minutes or less.
90-minute movies. We've covered that. We've covered a segment of the Planet of the Apes. We've covered listener questions. We've got to come up with a catchy name for that. We've covered the section. What has one or two of us watched that the other person couldn't be asked?
Toys. We had a look at some toys.
Oh, we did.
Some toys.
Yeah.
For our audio podcast that is way more popular in audio, we've done a lot of visual bits and bobs, but that's great.
We had the segment "Show Us Your Junk."
Yeah. Oh my.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
I like
We're building up a
repertoire.
thing.
Now we'll forget all
repertoire.
that for any other week and just go at it the same way we always do.
So, what film are we watching for next time?
Oof, that's tricky. Fatal Attraction, I think.
So I'm gonna watch Sisu.
Okay, and we'll watch Unhinged
You're
then.
I'll watch Unhinged.
What's out in
Oh.
the cinema? There was something that was coming out that I thought, we should probably watch
What?
that.
I'm going to see Inside Out 2 tomorrow with the kids, so that'll be something I might be able to...
Oh, yeah, Martha went to see that with her friend at the weekend.
Isn't there something big coming out on Netflix that's...
Who the fuck knows?
I had the feeling that something was
The
coming
Bear.
out.
The Bear is...
Oh, that was it, yeah.
The Bear is on
Tomorrow.
Oh,
Tomorrow.
yes.
Last week, for those watching it now.
I wonder if
Yes,
did he get
true.
out of the, did he get out of the fridge, or was he still in the fridge at the end?
He was still in the fridge.
I wonder if he's
Still
still
in the
going to be in the
fridge.
fridge.
Because he would remember the girl was on the outside of the fridge and she was like, why
And
being
she
such
left.
a fucking twat? And she was out of there, yeah. Out of there.
Yeah,
Jeez, he
right,
cocked that
the
up,
Bear.
didn't he?
One last thing from me. I watched the first 3 episodes of The Boys.
Oh, yeah, same.
Very good.
watched
Very
four.
good.
I've not started that. I need to watch that, yeah.
I was
Very
a bit
good.
dubious after episode 1. I was like, had they jumped the shark a little bit? Then I was like, nah, they know what they're doing.
Oh, yeah. No,
The
it's
fact that
Eric
right-wing
Kripke.
people are upset. The fact that right-wing people are upset about it makes me think, yeah, it's going to be good.
Yeah, well, they finally
Hilarious.
twigged, haven't they? The right-wing people who were like very first were like, yeah, finally a program that tells it like it is, and then they're like, hang on, we're the joke.
It's
Yeah,
that Mitchell and Webb sketch. Have you ever seen it with the Nazis? And he's like, are we the bad guys?
There's a
It's classic.
skull. There's a skull on my uniform.
Yeah, we're the bad guys. Oh, that's it. Brilliant.
100%. All right. Well, on that note, then, I guess we wrap it up for another week. What do you say, guys? All done?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for
Sure,
listening.
because I've got to go sign some posters.
Yeah,
God
apparently he's
damn
got some
it.
work to do. All right. And with that, we'll be off then. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.